Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Metal video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the INT LR Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 and basically just how good they can be in the Omega Shenron event. Now Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 are primarily a support unit, but you can main rotation them actually fairly easily. Weirdly enough, they are actually really solid with how many different variations and transformations they have. They are really solid. So when you look at their overall kit in their base form, so as the starting form, they're a good support. They're 50% support. They have 125% attack and defense. They get a little bit more, or a lot more if they're over 30% health. They have a 30% crit chance, and they do additional super attacks per in key sphere obtained, and they will reduce damage by 30% from when they perform their third attack, which should be their third turn. Or second turn even, sorry. If you get 2 INT orbs, it's your first turn. So it's a very simple base form that's a great support that you want to float or second slot. In their second state, in their standby skill state, it's a bit different. They have 50% damage reduction, making them way more tankier right off the bat, unconditional. They have a little bit more attack and defense, also gain a bit more when they're attacking. They are still a 50% support, and they still have their crit chance and guaranteed additionals per int keys you obtained. This form, for example, if you were to compare their raw defense to their base, at fully built up, their base will have more defense, but this form will have more defensive security because it has a higher start of turn base and also more damage reduction. It also boosts allies defense by 50% for 1 turn, so it's very good. After you use the standby skill, you then have Gamma 1. Gamma 1 is a very interesting unit in that he's a bit of a hybrid between both. So Gamma 1, in theory, with a couple orbs, is actually the strongest defensively. 10% damage reduction up to a max of 50%, and he also has a baseline damage reduction already of 15%. So he's already looking at 65% damage reduction if you just manage to get int key spheres. The thing is he makes int key spheres, so that's really helpful. On top of that, if you're above 30% health, he gets another 15%, which means he can have 80% damage reduction if you're just above 30% health, and you get a bit lucky with the orbs. On top of that, he is still a 50% support. He has built-in additionals, and on top of that as well, he has, of course, double raise, well, a raising of the superclass allies defense, but for 2 turns. Because of this, and because of how varied they are in each form, you can decide when and how you want to use them. Personally, I like to use the standby skill pretty much immediately for some extra bonus damage, but you don't have to. If you use it immediately, chances are you're going to get Gamma 1 out earlier, and Gamma 1 is a far better defensive unit, even if that is on a first slot, second slot, or third slot basis. However, if you want actual raw numbers, if you want the highest defense possible and the highest attack possible, you may want to leave the starting form out as long as possible. That one technically has the highest ceiling in regards to damage. So again, although it's difficult to not comprehend, but it's something you kind of have to work around, keeping them at their first base form is something actually credible if you want to do damage. Otherwise, you're doing decent damage in second and third form, but not the same high levels you could potentially do. However, with that being said, if I'm being honest, I think I like the third form the most. It's just the best. The double turn defensive raise is huge. The defensive security of the unit is huge. And yeah, just in general, I really do like that third form. Either of them is great for the Omega Shenron event. They don't struggle with anything that he poses towards them. You can see right here that they're going to tank a super attack for double digits, and they boost the rest of the team so much that dealing with the AoEs is really not a problem. You're going to see both Gammas, the old Gammas, both at 55%, tank the AoEs like they're nothing, and then dish out some very impressive attack stats. So Gamma 1, Gamma 2, the LR, gotta be honest, I like them a lot. I think They're probably one of the best facilitators in the game, and they are definitely one of the most versatile units in the game.